President-elect Joe Biden's transition team, he says they could take legal action if the agency that's tasked with aiding the process, that's the General Services Administration, doesn't recognize Biden's win. There's a law that says they should recognize the winner of the election and then get to work helping them transition. The GSA traditionally provides resources like access to classified information, background investigations, millions of dollars to the winner's transition team. But so far, crickets. GSA Administrator Emily Murphy, who was appointed by President Trump, has not recognized Joe Biden as the winner of the election. And it's worth saying that, he's up in the Electoral College and won the popular vote by at least 5 million votes. Of course, there are challenges, and that's the president's right.
Meanwhile, President Trump is refusing to accept those results. His campaign is filing lawsuits challenging ballot counts without evidence. The Justice Department official in charge of elections has also resigned after the Attorney General authorized investigations into the election before those results are certified. The move is a reversal of longstanding policy. Also, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was asked today whether the State Department will assist with a smooth transition. And here's a listen to what he said.
Smooth transition to a second Trump administration. All right, we're ready. The world is watching what's taking place here. We're going to count all the votes. When the process is complete, there'll be electors selected. There's a process. The Constitution lays it out pretty clearly.
There you go. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo mentioning a second Trump term there.
And maybe joking about it, but hey, it may not be a joke. ABC News political director Rick Klein and political analyst Matthew Dowd are joining us now to figure this out. And Rick, let me begin with you, although you can both chime in. Can you just explain how much of a turnaround in the vote it would take for Donald Trump to have a second term, and what's going on here once you look at the scale of that?
Well, everyone likes to talk about Florida 2000. This is not Florida 2000, and for a lot of reasons, it's not even close. In Florida, it was one state and about 500 votes separating the candidates. In this case, it is 4 or 5 states, depending on the size, that Donald Trump would have to turn around. And at a minimum, it's 10,000 votes, and in some states, upwards of 50 or 60,000 votes. And there hasn't been a shred of evidence introduced in the public domain or in court that would suggest that there's any number of votes that are likely to be overturned. This has, from the start, Terry, been a political strategy, not a legal strategy. And even now, a week after the election, there is nothing in any courthouse in America that would seriously undermine the vote counts that continue to proceed at the state level. Period. Full stop. This is not the same.
Matt, what? Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Diane.
That's okay. Matt, just curious, what you make of Secretary Pompeo, given what Rick just explained. What do you make of these comments saying there'll be an orderly transition to a second Trump administration?
Well, my sense is he was trying to be funny at a not funny time. I mean, that's all I can say. I think Mike Pompeo was smart enough to know what Rick just said. I mean, this race is not even as close as it was. There's further distance between this race, between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, than there was between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. So I think a number of senators are sort of playing this game right now. They know deep in their hearts that Joe Biden is going to be president on January 20th. Mike Pompeo knows it. My guess is most people in the White House know it because of the situation here. We'll play this out. And as Rick said, I was in the middle of the Florida stuff working for George W. Bush. This isn't the same. After the first official ballots were done, it was less than 1,000 votes. Then a recount started. George Bush, it wasn't like there was like a fight over the problem of fraud. It was just a question of what was the recount going to yield. And I think Joe Biden would be like, go fine, have a recount, do whatever you want in these states. I don't think they're going to fight a recount. They'll be involved. So I think everybody is sort of on tense. They've been stressed the last 4 years. I don't think the Republicans want to buck the president in the middle of this emotional time. But everybody deep down knows what the answer is.
Well, I wonder, Matt, except for the millions of people who put their faith in Donald Trump, thought he was going to win, are shocked that he's now being told by the leadership of the Republican Party, by conservative media, that the election has been stolen. That may be a kabuki game in Washington to protect Donald Trump's fragile ego. But for a lot of people, maybe it's eroding their confidence in the democracy. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's awful to what's been going on, and basically accusing various states, both Republican and Democrat around the country, that they somehow partook in fraud. Let me give you a perspective, though. There are a number of Trump supporters around the country that buy into this. But I live in a town that voted for Donald Trump. The flags are down. They're not running around with banners in their cars. They've basically, I've talked to a number of them. They've basically conceded that Joe Biden is going to be president. They're ready to move on, and they want to know what my favorite side at Thanksgiving is. And so that's most Trump voters right now. There is a segment, but most Trump voters have already moved on.
I'm just marking kabuki down on my breakdown bingo card over here. Excuse me for 1 second. Rick, when you look at the possibilities of how this plays out, you know, when we heard from Joe Biden just a little while ago, essentially saying that so far the president's refusal to concede doesn't affect much. They're continuing with the transition as planned regardless. So what happens if the president and the GSA continue to resist this? At what point does it become a problem?
Joe Biden is the least panicked Democrat in America right now. He is cool as a cucumber about all of this stuff, Diane, because he knows that the work of the transition is going to proceed. He knows what it's like to be in the White House. His team knows that they're preparing for this. Yes, there are a lot of logistical issues. There are a lot of financial issues that surround it. But as he even said, it'd be nice to have the intelligence, but one president at a time. He can do the job starting January 20th. He's very calm about it. And I thought was so critical in that news conference earlier today, guys, is that you had a president-elect looking to turn down the temperature, to dial it back, to talk again about reaching out to Republicans, ask explicitly, how can you work with these Republicans if they're not even going to accept your election? He just made, I think, a relevant point, saying we're going to get there. He's making another point that procedurally, we're not at a point where anyone has to accept an election if they don't want to. We haven't had certified results out of the states. He has complete and utter faith in the process to work its way through. And so far, the institutions are holding. You have states conducting their own elections and now doing their own counts. You have courthouses that are ready to hear any and all challenges. And at the end of the day, there will be a certified winner. It will almost certainly, almost positively be Joe Biden. He is certain of that fact, and he doesn't feel a need to panic.
And when asked what he'd say to President Trump, he didn't troll him. He said, I look forward to talking with you, Mr. Trump, Mr. President. Anyway, Matt Dowd, it's stuffing for me, my mom's stuffing. And Rick Klein, thanks very much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.